Thank you so much. My name is Tasara Girimana and I'm a data scientist and I'm going to teach Introduction to R Programming. So at Introduction to R Programming, we are trying to see the R overview, the history of R programming, and then we will also continue to see why we use R programming. We'll focus on the different environment we use when we are programmed, the different stacks in R programming, where we are focusing on RStudio. What is RStudio? Why we use RStudio instead of using R console, or why we prefer to use RStudio compared to other environments. And of course, we will understand what is environment we have when we normally understand R programming. Mainly, we are going to see the working environment of using R programming for those who are not familiar with R programming at the first time. And for those who are interested also to use R programming, what am I going to look into? What is the tool I'm going to continue to interact with while I'm trying to use R programming? And of course, we look at our working space. Not only our working space, we will see how it should look like, but also we will see the data set that we can use in R programming. When I say the data set, mainly I'm talking about the statistical applications or the statistician. Those are the persons who mainly deals with data to solve the real world problem. And of course, we need to understand what is data. We will have a session that is going to help us to understand what is data and how can we use data to solve the real world problem, and also how we can get the data from the different fields. And we also look at the R package. What is the package? Most of the time, for us to run what we intended to do in R programming, we will also need R package. And then for this session, we are going to see what is package and important of also knowing the package. So without losing much time, I'm going to start on the R programming overview. I was like doing the short PowerPoint that is going to guide us on the overview. Of course, the R programming, it is a software package for statistical computing and graphics. So it is also it has the corrections of more than 6,000 packages from it is the publication that is released in June 2015, and of course it is programming language, and it is widely used and it is powerful. And a big thing that we need to keep in our mind, it is because the other programming, it is a free version. If we say it is a free, what it means that anyone can use it without paying money. What you need to know, it's like knowing that it is to have information that other programming is available. What you have to do is just to go on online, and then you have to download it so that you can use in your machine without paying any short amount of money. And then the Arab programming was created in 1099, in age of 99, where it was developed by Rossi Yaka and the Robert Gentleman, and it was mainly developed from the other programming language that was used at that time called S, and that S was mainly using the code of C. For those who know C++, I think they know how it works. It was mainly based on that idea, and S at that time was largely used to make the good graph, and then those guys, they see it and then they think a way they can also generate the powerful programming language that is going to help us in good graph as it was S doing, but also adding the features that is going to be used by the statistician. That was the main focus, or the main idea behind, since those guys they were sitting together at that age. And in 1975, it is where R programming was developed like S. and quite good for graphing. And that's why most of the time you will hear people saying that both of them, all of the statistical softwares that we normally use, the R programming, it is the best that is good for the data visualization. You will hear some commentation, some documentation for people who talking about the R. It is most powerful on graphics. That's where it is started. And then why we use R programming. So of course, as a statistician or data scientist, we use R programming because it is free, but also not only saying that it is free, of course, it is going to help us to solve the problem in a simple way. Because those who knows how statistics or mathematics or data scientists, we run the theories where we used to calculate our stats by using hands, pens or notebooks. But let's say, for example, you are like having the big data. You need to solve the problem that is going to be applied on the whole continent. You are not going to calculate it by using your hands. Of course, there is a programming. That's why we come up with other programming, and it is easier for us to use it because it is free. It runs on variety of platforms. You can use it either using Windows, Unix, or Macron, and those who are using the operating systems, different operating systems like Windows, as I said, Unix, and also macros. And it provides an parallel platform for programming, new statistical methods. It is easier and straightforward to the manner. What it means, those kind of things. Let's say, for example, you may develop a new statistical tool or a new statistical model today. And then it is easier for community of other programming to program the algorithm or the set of interaction that is behind that model you developed today to add it in our environment. It is easier for us to add it. It has the community where you can go and then develop your own package so that anyone can use it, align with, which means that once we update the new statistical model, it is easier for us to update it in other programming through creating a new package that is going to represent that model. And of course, it contains advanced statistical routine not yet available in other packages. That is really interesting. It has the state of art and graphic capability, as I said. And also from that, we have the RStudio. So in R programming, mainly we normally knows what we need to have in our mind. When we say R programming, understand R console and also RStudio. Why R console? R console, it's where you can write the code or the set of instructions. If I say the code, understand that it's a communicating language with programming. Like I'm using R, but I have to communicate with R language so that R it can understand what I'm interested to ask or I'm interested to solve. Just the conversation. Let's say, for example, I can have a conversation with I and you. Let's say, for example, maybe we are using English. I will ask a question and then you understand what I'm asking you. You respond to me just in terms of having a conversation. So from that, when we need to communicate with other or any programming language, we use a code. That is a set of instructions that we pose to the programming so that they can understand what we really interested to do. So then come back to RStudio, as I say, it is integrated developing environment that is mainly designed by the R users so that it can be easier for them to run those set of instructions, to run those codes that I was talking, so that if I need to communicate something, I will use those codings, I will use those programmable instructions so that they can understand it. But also the good thing for RStudio, when I'm using RStudio, I have a possibility of saving what what I was already done, so that I can use it maybe tomorrow or anyone else can use it. Once I save it, what I do is just to send to them or to him, to her, so that they can use it in their Laptop, what is really needed is to have it in your own machine. And RStudio, of course, is friendly user. It has good interface, which is easier to navigate it, to attractivity when you are doing something, you run something, and then there is a possibility where you are doing things, but you need to see the output of what you are doing. And it is easier, and it is free, unless you want a new version. There is a possibility also you can pay a few amount so that you can have the full accessibility. Once we have any update, automatically you have to see update by at right time. You have, there is an option of paying so that you can get much features, but most of the time what we used to do, we used to use it is free. It's on a free version. There is a lot of things that is there compared to the other programming language. So, and our working space, it's where, if we say working space, it's uh, like, let's say, for example, you have a house and you are in a salon, something like that. You see where, yeah, like you are. Working space, it's where we are working where we communicate. It's like the conversation site where we are trying to communicate with the other programming through the codings. So there's a lot of like object that you create during other session, something like that. It's a like collection of objects. If we say objects, it's like more about, we see the object. I'm trying to create like the title of conversation. Let's say something like that. So we are having a conversation, but also we need to create where we are going to start, like the the overview of the conversation. That's what we call the object. You can create during the other session or holding in memory, correcting object that is you currently having called working space. This working space is not just saved on the disk unless you tell other to do so. So you need to save the working space unless uh, if you don't tell other to save, it's like to save, it is use saving as the way other programming also using, or the way we save the document to the other, the way we save the Word document or PowerPoint document. That is the way we save other working space. So this is also the some codes maybe we'll see later on part of introduction to other under basics for other programming. But this is there's some codes we use to use, or instructions we use to use when we are saving the current working directory. We used to use save.image. This means that I'm using current working directory. If I say working directory, understand that I'm in a folder called desktop. Inside the desktop, I have the folder called R introduction. So then, once I want to close the RStudio, I will need to tell other that I need you to save I need you to save this working directory, this folder that I'm working. Once I open R again, without changing, without doing anything, what I'm doing automatically is going to be saved on the current working directory. I mean current working directory, it's where you are like working, where you are saving what you are doing. That's what we say working directory. So to save the current means what I'm working with currently. So that's what I can say on also saving current working directory. And also when you need to check working directory, current working directory, you will use get.wd. And then to see the list of object, the object is like, when we say object, understand that, let's say for example, most of the time in a programming language, maybe you are building the program where you are going to combine the name of a student, the marks of a student, and also the gender of the student, so that it can be together. Maybe it's a program you are going to build, and it is going to contain that input that I'm talking. So you, instead of typing each name per each name, you have to create what we call object, so that you can assign all the names you are going to need. all the names you are going to use, so that once you need to use those names that you are going to need, you will need to call that object you already created. That's what we call object. So, and then when you need to see the number of objects that you already created in other working space, of course you will use RS. This is a code that is going to list all objects you have already created in your current working space. And of course, to set working directory, we will see the code later once we have started doing those kind of things. That's making introduction. That's how RStudio workspace also look like. So you will see that this is what we call R script. An R script is where we type the code and then we can save it. Let's say, for example, this is a code I have there. So from this code, I can type the code there and then I save it so that I can use it later, or I can share to someone so that they can use it. And here on this side, you will see we have console. On other console, as I was saying, we used to have other console and also RStudio. On other console, it's where you will type the code, but you don't have a possibility of saving that code you are doing. So on other console, it's where you don't have the possibility of saving those kind of things. But in RStudio here, as I was saying, there is a possibility of saving what we are doing. And this is also the environment. On environment side, that's where the object that you are creating is going to be there. And I was really interested to show you how it look like, and then we are going to explore much as we can since we started doing the practical session. And also in other programming, there is what we call dataset within the other programming itself, because it is mainly made by the packages, and the packages, it's like a set of rules. Let's say, for example, we normally know logistic regression, but the way other programming works, there is option of developing the package. The package, it is like a things that is consist of a set of algorithms that representing something. Let's say, for example, if I will need to use logistic regression, so I will need to code the package that is mainly designed for the logistic regression. So at that time, when people are developing the packages, they used to say that since for us for us to make it easier to the user, we need to put some sample data set that they can use to perform those statistical stuff. So which means more you have packages in R programming, there is a possibility of having the example data set. And then a data set, it's a combination of a lot of information, which is not be easier for those who are not expert on it. So we receive the detailed data set, and also this is what I was talking about, the other packages. And when we say the other packages, it is extension of other containing the data set and the specific function to solve specific question, as I was telling you. Let's say, for example, when you download the other, already the number of packages, around 30 of packages are downloaded as well. That is by default packages that you really get once you are like downloading the other programming at the first time. And you will have the options of adding more packages, continue to adding more packages, also updating the packages that you have there. There is a possibility of continue to upgrade, but also if you see that there is a packages that you really don't need, you have the option of deleting it. That's how the ARA also works. And those packages, that is what is going to give us the authority to perform any specific task. And as I was telling you, let's say, for example, you will need let's say, for example, you will need to do the machine learning techniques. Of course, there is a packages that is specifically for performing machine learning techniques. And then if you need to perform survival analysis, you will need the packages that is designed. That packages, it is containing a sort of instructions, a set of formulas that we used to use when we are using hands to calculate the survival analysis. So it is designed to capture the information that is really needed to perform something. So what you need to know, it's to need how to use it, how to code it, so that I can use it in my other programming, so that I can use it to solve that problem. How can we link with the data set I have? The data set, it's like those stuff that contains the information that I need to represent so that I can solve the problem. What you need to understand how it works, but keep in mind that the other packages, it contains uh, those algorithms that is going to help us to solve the specific functions. And then if I say the algorithms, that what I'm saying, it's a communicating language that we are using once we are talking with the programming language. So to code, when you want to use the packages that is already installed, you type library and then you put the package name, and you can ask yourself, or maybe you can ask a question, in which way we normally knows that we normally knows the names of the packages. um, I promise that once you are be once you are be dealing with the other programming, later on you are going to know a lot when it comes to the packages. There is a lot of packages, as I was telling you since we started. As I said, there is a lot of more than 6,000 packages that ARA has, because it is free. Anyone can do their own packages to the way they want, but what we need to see, there is a common packages we will see when it comes to the data manipulation. When you need to do the statistical advanced model, we need to call each packages. Once you need to do more and more, that's how we are going to know more packages, because more you do a lot, more you get more packages in front of you. That's what I can say. We cannot do anything in other programming. Of course, we can do basic, but when we need to do a good and advanced stuff, we need to know more packages. That's what I can say. So, and here also it's a way of installing the packages. Or if you need to add the packages in your other programming, we use this code. You can also install the packages. You can also check for installed packages, where you type this code install.packages. You can also see the folder where the package you have in your ARA already installed, where it is located. You can also call the packages. The library, it's the code that is going to help us to load and use the packages. Already I have the packages that already installed in other programming, but I need to tell other that I need you to activate these packages so that I can use it. And here also there is another option of search, where we want to view the loaded other packages. So of course there is if you have the packages that are already installed in other programming, and then you need to see like to understand what is going to help us, like to get more about the like executive summary about the packages. Let's say, for example, this is one of the example of packages we will meet with once we are interacting with other programming, especially when you are reading the dataset that is having extension of CSV, and then that is the information for me I already know. But you get a new package that is new for you in your mind. So, and then when you need to see or to search information on it, you will use search, and then you will type the name of the library, and even the code you don't understand, you will use the search to understand what it's talking about. And we have option of removing the packages when you see that you don't really need it again. And there is also another options of updating the packages. This is also what we are going to see. and um, and that is what we really that was interesting to show you on the introduction to R programming. And then the next session or the next edition, we are going to focus on R basics and data type and also data structure, where we'll see how can we use R programming as like a calculator performing the operations, the basic operations, but also knowing the different data types we used to have in R programming, and also, of course, the data structure. When we are talking about the R, just understand that we can't do this without imposing what we call the data, and then we need to see the data type. And thank you so much for following this session. I think you gain a lot, and let's meet to the next session.